We're back again,
Welcome,
Community Conversations.
welcome. Number 15, which is Amazeballs, and I love it. But what I think people will really love this time around is that they're not only going to hear my voice and your voice. We have got the pleasure of Claire joining us today, everybody. If you're listening or if you're watching, you'll be able to see her beautiful face. So yeah, it'd be fab to have someone else's voice and thoughts and feelings around what we're going to talk about. And if it's okay today, I felt like it was really important because we can go off on a tangent and we probably will do again today, but to share with our community and those that listen and follow us actually the kind of support and assistance that we offer within this community. Because I was having a little look to see like what are the key things that people look for when they're joining a community, and it was a sense of belonging, support and assistance, and shared purpose and values. And I think in our journeying we see that we share the same sort of purpose and values with the people that we come across and that are attracted to our spaces. A sense of belonging. I'm a little bit like not entirely sure on how we measure that one, other than having like conversations with people, but I'd love to know your thoughts. But yeah, what I really wanted to share with everyone today between us, especially as we've got full team ABTY here today, is what we do and what we support and what we offer and the assistance that we can give people if they are already in our community, or if they're looking and have been teetering on the edge and wondering what it is that they would benefit from our space. So yeah, where to go
Right. Let me
first?
just clarify something. What just happened? So you were speaking lovely, and I was writing some notes down. And for the hater that I've recently had on YouTube, who was calling me out saying that I was on my phone and how disrespectful that was during my interview, and what must it be like living with him if he's always on his phone? I can assure you, I was just writing some notes as to what you. I just thought, oh no, the camera's looking at my face looking down. I'm going to be, that hater's going to come
Oh
back and give me some
no,
shade
they're gonna
again.
be there, give you some more. Oh goodness me. No. We know.
Should we allow some space for Claire to introduce herself to begin with?
Yeah, go for it, Claire.
Hi. Yeah, it's nice to be on this. Yeah, I normally don't get on because normally it's right in the smack bang middle of school run and stuff and the kids, or I've got Livy who's actually napping, my youngest daughter at the moment. So it's nice to be on here. And yeah, I don't really, I hate that question
I
is like, how do you introduce yourself?
well, I think you need to introduce yourself in the context of this community. So obviously you've been a
Mm.
member of the community and you are helping us
Yeah.
contribute to that community too. So maybe from those two perspectives, introduce yourself.
Yeah, so I guess so. Yeah, I came and joined the community. So I actually came and joined the Master Heart Mind, first of all, is where I came from. We obviously connected back in 2019, Ryan. And then we met at Esther's event in 2019 in real life. And then and then I literally just came in and got in touch with you. I then coached and mentored with you for a year, one-to-one, and then I was inside the Master Heart and Mind and been there ever since. Can imagine not being a part of that community, and then obviously being in the wider sense of the community, watching that grow and seeing all the incredible human beings that's in there. And then when you decided to expand and grow your team, the wonderful Abby obviously came in the community aspect. And then with my gifts and talents, it was looking at how I could come in and support. So a lot of what I do is tech, business operations. And I think what was really good was at the time, I was actually coming out of the industry that was pulling me in one direction of how to create community. And then I was really grateful that I found Always Better Than Yesterday, because it was like polarized what I was so being drawn into and kind of like so easily sucked into. Like, honestly, I think when you're very vulnerable and when you're trying to seek community and not fully understanding what that is, it's very easy to essentially, and this is just my own experiences that I share, but to be manipulated into what a community can look and feel like. And sometimes that can take you down the wrong path. And so I think that's why community really became something valuable to me when I listened to that gut feeling of like something, and what I came to learn that feeling was that values just weren't lining up. But then I needed to go on that journey to understand what my own values were, because I didn't really know what they were in action. And you spoke an awful lot about what love being a verb and what it looks like in action. And, you know, that kind of started my journey on what does each of my values look like in action. And then, yeah, and then I'm in, and where has it been, 2-3 years now? So yeah, it's been amazing. I love Always Better Than Yesterday. I love what it stands for. I love how much it's evolved and it's growing. And yeah, I'm excited that there's so many people in this community that would really benefit from what it is that we share, each of us share, whether it's on a podcast or whether it's your YouTube channel with your amazing, incredible guests that you've got coming in, or just our coffee connects that we've got and our time and space that we spend outside beyond the internet. It's not just an online thing, it's very much coming together. So yeah,
thank you.
that's
One of the
right.
things you said, Abby, is about how do you measure belonging, and I think Claire's just pointed on some of that. Is it's almost like a sense and a feeling, isn't it? But trying to put words to that feelings, it's about,
Yeah,
is this a bit of me?
that's the
Is it
question
a
I
bit
was
of
going
me?
to ask. Is like, are there any words, Claire, that you could use that would describe what those feelings were, or what those what's the word that I'm looking for? Well, you used the word like actions, or what stood out to you about Always Better Than Yesterday that made you go, oh, that's I think that's where I need to be.
That's actually really easy to answer. It's the fact that, like what we talk about with purpose, we obviously talk about greenhouses, we talk about come as you are, is like that phrase. And I think that was the key difference for me, is that I was able to come as and who I am without fear of judgment, without trying to be somebody else. I think when you come, so when I talked about my experience of being parts of communities where, you know, I realize now looking back that wasn't really the right environment for me. What was the key differentiators between that was that I wasn't really actually allowed to be who I truly was. If anything, it was almost like I don't know, like a Brussels sprout that, like, no one likes Brussels sprouts, and it's like, you know, I now make them in like cream and onion and a bit of bacon and it tastes amazing. So it's like sometimes things can just be wrapped up to make it look like this is what you need. And I think that when some communities, unfortunately, through my experience again, has approached things on people's lack and then taken advantage of that to be able to then use for their own gain, that's something I experience. So it's heartbreaking when I see other people being exposed to that now, but I understand we're all on our own journeys. But that's got to be the key thing for me, is that when I came into Always Better Than Yesterday, it was, I didn't have to pretend to be somebody that I wasn't. And actually, you know, I didn't fully know who I was, and I still don't know everything about myself. I'm still like, I'm always going to be on that journey. We all are, I think. But it's having that freedom of being able to show up as we are, not having to be perfect, not having to have our self together all the time, that it's in our messiness as well as our good times and those high times that we have. It's just literally the saying, come as you are. It's there's an embodiment of that in our community, and in every interaction that we have. So yeah, I could definitely put that in words now, but that's having experienced it across the last 7 years. Like, that wasn't something that came to me at the beginning. I had to go and journey and walk through that.
If I could just add to that, Abby, I think any community where you've got to perform, compete for attention, you've got to adapt or change of yourself, that's not belonging, that's fitting in. And I think for as long as we're all trying to fit in, there will be an absence of peace. Like, because there'll be a compromising of your true authenticity, there'll be a compromising of your values. And if you compromise your values, you compromise your peace. And that doesn't mean to say that we create a community that is fitting of everybody's values. I think people will equally come to our community, and if they have a set of values that are different from ours, they'll feel equally uncomfortable. And I wouldn't want them to adapt to try and fit in. I would want them to either fully feel like this is an expression and an extension of who they are, and the freedom to express, or actually not waste their time. Like, not waste their time expecting something from a community that we're just not that for them.
Yeah, and I suppose then I have the question, how do we make it clear to them that this is who we are and this is what we represent? You know, does that come through just having discussion in the way that, or does it come through in, it's probably all these things, to be fair, comes in the way that, you know, obviously, like, we as individuals show up as a representation of the group. Yeah, just let me know.
I said to you, this water tastes like lemon, right? How do you know?
It's got lemon in it.
Ah, but how do you know?
Because I know what a lemon tastes like.
Yeah, but how do you know it tastes like lemon? So you're taking my word for it, right? So you're taking my word for it. So you trust what I'm saying. But the only way to truly know, Abby, is to come get yourself some and give it a go, give it a try. And I think that's the same thing with, like, communities. You'll either have people that you trust and you go, I'll take your word for it, or it's like, do you know what? I need to go get an experience. I need to go find out for myself.
Yeah, I think that's the key word, isn't it? Is the experience, isn't it? Because and I think it's also, like, just listening to you saying that, it's just also, it's who we are being. We don't, and who we're being is what people will experience when they come into our presence. And that's how they know what always better than yesterday is, or or just even outside of always better than yesterday. That's just how you will know what someone's values are, or whatever. It's that experience that you have with them. Because, like, I can't always put down in words on marketing stuff, you know, what it's like to work with me. It's not until people come in, or like that time, Ryan, when you came and sat in with me, it was like, then you're able to see it and feel it's what you feel. And sometimes we can't find the words to put down for what we experience. And I used to hate that. I'm like, why can't I find the words to describe it? And sometimes there's beauty in actually just having the experience and not having to have words for it. That's kind of where I'm at now. So yeah, and then that's what's so good. Yeah.
If we draw all this back to what you said at the start, Abby, is what support and assistance. That's why so much of what we do in the community is just geared for the free stuff. It's like, come get an experience. So I don't think we do as much online community stuff as we did during COVID, because we used to do the group calls. But, you know, over the last year or two, we've really put an effort into, like, a local footprint, like space and time and space, sharing time and space. Now, you know, always better than yesterday as a company. It's an organization, right? It's a limited company. It runs on a business, but this whole community aspect is free. It's not, we don't charge for any of it. So what we're saying is, come and be with other good people. Like, you don't even need to come and get the paid services, like the coaching and the groups and all things in between. We're a genuine community that wants to come and welcome you into a group of other like-minded, like-hearted human beings. And I think that kind of, whether that's really understood by the masses, is that we do a lot of this community-based stuff because it's an expression of who we are, and it's an invitation for people to come on a journey with us. And some people will journey with us in the community, like, you know, people like Bill that stay within the community, like the connection. And some people like Haley will come on a short journey with our paid group, and some people will stick around, like, you know, forever and a day, like you guys. There's levels to this. What? The levels aren't mine, the levels are the people. I just provide an option, we provide an option, and then they decide how deep they want to go with this stuff.
Love that. And that's it. It's like what I was saying earlier, it's the people get to have the full autonomy over how much they want to be involved or how much they want to be a part of it, and what they want to take from it, what they want to get from it, what they want to, you know, put into it. And I think that's freedom, isn't it? Like we're not, a community to me isn't something that, you know, should restrict you or should come with a set of rules that you need to abide by in order to be a part of that community, because that to me is the opposite of what that sense of belonging is, and the values.
One of the things I heard Simon Sinek talk about a long time ago, which is the difference between Microsoft and Apple. And if you close the laptop on a Microsoft, you've got the logo facing perfectly towards the user. And then when you put the laptop up, the logo to anybody else looks upside down. Apple did it the other way around. They put the Apple upside down for the user so that when the lid is up, it shows to the world the Apple logo. And Simon was talking about how the Apple users were using that to show the world, hey, I'm an Apple user. This is a bit of me. It's almost an extension of my identity. And I think that's a subtlety around what it means to feel like you belong to something. And I think sometimes when we wear our blue hearts out in the community, that's what we're doing. We're saying this is an extension of who we are, and we will proudly display the blue heart, you know. And only this week I had a lovely little tag in the Instagram from Elaine over in Arkansas. And she was where so she's got a fashion blog, and she was talking about how sometimes you can dress with your clothes to shape your identity. And she kindly chose to wear our logo and our t-shirt as a way of expressing that today I am always better than yesterday. And it's amazing, isn't it, to think that someone would choose to go, hey, this frequency, this vibration, this community spirit, I'm going to show the world that I'm part of that, just by simply putting a bit of a blue heart on the chest.
That's incredible, really, isn't it? Like, to think, yeah, it comes back to what you're saying, I think, Claire, like choices, isn't it? Like, she chose to step out that day, share that message, and I guess that brings it back to us. That brings it back to us, really, in what we do with this community on a daily basis, is that wherever we go and whatever we're doing, 9 times out of 10, this community pops up in conversation somewhere, somehow, you know. And I love that. It's just, I love that not only have we become part of a community, but the community is sort of now part of us, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I'm glad about that, because I don't want it to be old Ryan Hartley. It's, you know, community is a we rather than a me. And I think, you know, when you start on an early days, you know, all my Instagram was Ryan Hartley, always better than yesterday. There was kind of, you couldn't separate the two. But I think the great thing about having you guys here as well is that it's we, not me. And it's the 3 we, but it's also the we being the 900 who choose to kind of be part of it, and which is great, right? So it took time to get to a level of, well, what is this thing? What is this thing called An Always Better Than Yesterday? For it now to be brought to life, to a point where we can do many different offerings. It doesn't have to be me. You know, you both are trained in coaching in your own right. So there's a number of different things we can do. And I think the closer we are to our community and understand what they need, we can hopefully then align some additional levels of support, more personal levels of support, should we say, because we know what they need. And maybe that's the next kind of bit which we journey on over the next 6 months, which is really trying to support the community with whatever it is they need, both from our own skill set, but also playing Cupid with other people that are in our community.
Yeah, that was a thought that I've been thinking about over the last few days, really, that how we have got this incredible amount of people that share this space, and of like their unique skills and talents that they all have, and how not necessarily they even impact directly on us, but how we can like link people more together wherever they're based all over the world to do more great things. So yeah, it'd be wonderful to have a think about how that can look, how that can work, and if anybody listening has got ideas on that, please feel free to like share them with us. It would just be amazing to know that all these little pockets of like amazing things are, well, they do anyway, but do you know what I mean, that we're creating the possibilities of more things happening all over the world.
Where do we go from here?
Well, I think we've established several of the things that I was questioning at the start, really, about how do we, first of all, sort of present ourselves, what encourages people to want to come to our community, which I think you answered really beautifully, Claire. And then we've spoken about how it feels to belong, what that feels like. We've spoken a little bit about our offering, but we can direct people more intently to that outside of this space. And we've just considered how we can do more. So I think we've kind of covered all of the things really today, which is amazing. Yeah, I'm happy with that. I'm happy we've answered our questions today.
Efficient. Claire, anything you would add from a community building and belonging perspective?
No, there's so much I could talk about it for ages. Actually, there's so much to talk about. I just think when I hear the word community, for me, the word that comes to me is family. It's always been that. That's what that means for me. Yeah, and that's how I see this community. Abby, talking about like people, you know, all connecting in various different ways, you know, particularly We Are Always Better Than Yesterday community is never about us or Ryan. It's about all the people that are in there. We want people to connect. We want people to reach out. Unfortunately, you know, there's so many online communities that there's so many rules and restrictions on what you can and can't do, and self-promotion. I remember seeing one yesterday, like someone putting a post out wanting support, and the rule of the community is that you're not allowed to self-promote. So if it was something that I had the gift and talent for, I wasn't allowed to say, oh, hey, reach out. This is my details. If this aligns with you, get in touch with me. I found that really strange, that and actually surprised that where we are at in the world right now, that still is even a thing, that we're still restricting people, and we don't do that. And that's one of the things that I love about our community is that we want to encourage people to reach out, to connect, go on each other's podcasts, go and have conversations, go be a part of sharing their gifts and talents. Like it's the collective it's not about just individuals and what we can take and what's beneficial to just ourselves. I think we talk a lot about being of service to other people, and I think that's what we're here for. I think we're here to serve others. We're not here to be serviced. And I think that when we come from that place of expectation that we should, you know, receive, then, you know, we're gonna find that disconnect. Yes.
I love what you just said, because that's the exact spirit of it. And if someone has created a community out of the intellectual reasoning that it's a good thing to do, then the spirit of that community will suffer and struggle, because it isn't a heartfelt thing. It is a strategy. And where does the strategy comes from? A business. It's the right thing to do for my business. And that then means that your community just simply become customers. They've just put a different phrase on the word community, because if you're not genuinely creating a free economy of space where they can be supported, and so I remember the very, very early days when I was not long in, but a year in, someone was in there, and then they ended up working with Esther. And it was like, I could have been very kind of like put out by that. And I chose to see it very differently. I chose to see it abundantly, and just to say that not everyone's for me. It's not like this is my community, therefore I get the first pick of anybody who wants coaching. It's just like, no, like they resonate with different people. And like that was a really good experience for me to have very early on and to be at peace with it, because I could not have gone 7 more years trying to protect my empire, meaning that I am the only person that you guys can get coaching from. It would have fallen down. People wouldn't have wanted to spend time in this community because it would have been a dictatorship, as opposed to a genuine community where you both get the opportunity to give and receive value. I think that's an important part of belonging, is the ability to give and to receive. And how great an opportunity if you genuinely were able to serve that other human being, because that's what it means to be the body of Christ, whether it means to be the web of life, whether it means whatever the analogy is. If we all had everything that we needed in terms of gifts and skills and talents, we'd have no need for each other. So God's got this ironic amusement to say, I'm going to give you 3 of the nice ingredients. I'm going to give you 9 of them. And guess what? You've got to, A, go figure out what you've got. And B, you've got to go figure out which other person doesn't have, so that you may be of service and use to each other. It's like community was naturally built into the fiber of who we are.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Like jigsaw puzzle. Yeah, 100%.
We're not
Give what you're good at, receive what you're not good at.
But I love that,
Literally
because
that simple.
that's the whole point of coming together, though, isn't it? It's like, what?
Yes.
I mean, why would we want to be good and great at everything? You know, then there'd be like, I just don't know.
Well,
I think
some
it's
people would listen to
humbling.
that and go, wouldn't it be lovely? And I wouldn't need to rely on anybody else. I can get things done in my own time frame.
I've been that person. I've been that person where it's like, I can do it myself. I'll only do it myself. And, you know, obviously with the training stuff that I've done, I know that that's come from, you know, that's a trauma response. That's because that was survival, that way of thinking. And what a resting place it's been to discover that actually that's not the way it has to be. And that we can come to others. Yeah, we can come to others. We can rely on support in others and ask for help, which has been a personal journey of myself, going on that. But yeah, it's a great conversation topic.
So anyone listening that's thinking about this thing called An Always Better Than Yesterday, said they find us on the podcast or YouTube. If you're not currently within our Facebook community, which is We Are Always Better Than Yesterday on Facebook, or come and find out the Always Better Than Yesterday on LinkedIn. Those are the 2 main places that we're building community in the online space. And then what you'll then get when you're there is you'll get all the events published where we come and hang out with each other. You'll get all the conversations that people are having around certain topics. We're regularly putting in things for helping people on this path, on this journey, with things to think about, things to reflect on, some memes that make people laugh, and it's generally a good space. I think if you can come into this space, you will find 900 people with which you it's just come meet your like-hearted, like-minded people, isn't it? Come and see how you can be served by people who believe what we believe, which is, to do things in a heart-centered way, and that we're always learning and growing and being better.
And together.
Together. Right, see us out then, Abby. Wrap it up.
Wow, that was episode 15. It was a really, really cool conversation. Thanks, Claire, for joining us today. And we'll see you next month. Thanks.
Bye. See you later.